Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
What's happening, fight fans? Welcome back to Combat Sports UK. Chris Simpson here, and I'm here with friend of the channel, friend of my channel, one of the best people in the sport I know, and one half of the vacant bantamweight title fight at Cage Warriors Newcastle. I'm here with Reece McEwan. Thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Thank you for having me. That was very kind words and a brilliant introduction.
Hey, not a problem, mate. Basically, mate, it's just this came out of nowhere, this fight with Liam Gittins. He's obviously been fighting at featherweight. Obviously, he fought at bantamweight quite a few times, but kind of was fluctuating between the two weights. And it wasn't even a name that we'd spoken about beforehand. Was it a surprise to you to get offered this fight?
Yeah, it was a surprise. Not on Liam's resume. Just I know that he's just had a baby, and I know that he kind of ruled out fighting for the rest of the year. So it was a surprise in that sense, but yeah, it got offered to me and I accepted. So here we are.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's going to be an amazing fight, and Liam's someone that really brings it as well, and he's got an aggressive style.
Yeah.
Was it someone whose fights you were watching in the past, and maybe someone that was on your radar, maybe for a fight further down the line?
Yeah. So again, I kind of forgot this happened, but after I accepted the Liam Gittins fight, I was obviously kind of looking at like Liam as a person and kind of thinking back on my own and reflecting on my last few fights. And it was I'm pretty sure it was after, I think it was before Kingsley Crawford actually. I asked for the Crawford fight, right? I actually asked for the Crawford fight 2 weeks before I fought Sam Spencer. So after the Sam Spencer fight, I remember messaging my manager asking for Crawford, and I says, but if they can't do Crawford, I want Gittins, because at the time Gittins was 5th ranked in the UK, and I was kind of just basing it off Topology records. And then after the Crawford fight, I said, I want, and like I would love a title fight or an interim title. If there's no title talk, I want this person or this person, and one of those names was Liam Gittins. So, and then Liam kind of went in the back of my head, obviously in the division, because I think he took 1 or 2 fights at featherweight, and then he was fighting Rory Evans, so he was very fresh in my head. And so I was obviously, me and Rory were meant to fight in the same card in April. So it was very fresh in my head in that sense. So, and now here we are now fighting for the belt.
Yeah, and it's going to be, I'm really excited for this fight. And like I said, I think what's made more people more excited because it was completely out of the blue as well. It wasn't like one that people were expecting. Going on to the fight that people were expecting, I know a few weeks ago when we spoke, you said you don't care who you're fighting. It's going to be for the belt. You don't care who it's against. Did you kind of want it to be the Nathan Fletcher fight, or like I said, wanted just to fight for the belt and that's what you were going to do?
No, honestly, I don't care. Like, see after my last fight, and I said I don't care who it's what, right? And to see since I joined Cage Warriors, see before I signed with the promotion, I watched Nathan Fletcher fight Dominic Wooden for the vacant belt, and Dominic Wooden won the title. And then in that time, Dominic Wooden lost to Martione. Martione then vacated it. Dylan Hazan and Kalen Loughran fought for it, and then Loughran vacated it. So in that such short space of time, the landscape's always changing. And the landscape of any division is always changing, whether a champion's moving up, moving down, or signing to the UFC, or they're losing their belt. So I've always said that I don't really care who. My goal since day one's always to be Cage Warriors bantamweight champion of the world. And it's never been about beating this certain person, like, because when you do beat them, like, what do you do after that? Nothing. You just move on to the next one. So I don't really care like who it's been against. And in terms of like the Nathan fight, I was getting frustrated with that one because I was really frustrated with that sense because after my last fight, I asked for that fight and it never came together. And then I had to wait around from the 1st of July to the 29th of September for Nathan to have another fight. And then I had to wait around for another 2 weeks to see if he was going to be healthy for Newcastle. And I was just thinking, I'm sick of waiting on someone else. Like, this is my shot. This is me who's been active in the last 14 months. No one else has been as active as me. I've had the longest streak in the division. Why am I waiting around on other people? Like, this is my shot. So I was getting a lot fed up, and I just kept kind of like saying to everybody, like, I just want an opponent. I don't care who. I just feel like I've been waiting since the 1st of July on one, is Loughlin going to defend or go to the UFC? And then you're waiting on, is Nathan going to win his next fight? And then now you're waiting, is Nathan healthy? So it was all waiting about everyone else, where the person who was active, the person who had a date booked, the person who was already selling more tickets than everyone else, never had anyone. So that's what I was frustrated at. So now there's no frustration anymore. It's just like relief. I've got an opponent, I've got a fight day, fighting for the title. And 25th of November is going to be a great night.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've been counting down the days to it. Like I said, it's less than a month away now. Obviously, you're spending like you did last camp as well, spending a bit of time down down in Wales, Shaw Martial Arts. What's that relationship been like for your development as a fighter, having that as kind of like a second home now?
Yeah, like it's been a huge addition to like my training, my career, the coaches, the training partners, and the environment. It's been absolutely massive. Um, the perfect way that I can describe the experience that they offer to me is when I win this title, I'll be the first person in Scotland to ever do that, right? But you're on the mats every day with Brett Johns, who won it 10 years ago. You're on the mats with Jack Shore, who won it 4 years ago. And when I signed to the UFC, I'll be the first person in Scotland ever to do so. But you look at Jack and Brett, collectively have had 17 fights in the UFC or Bellator, the two world leading MMA promotions in the bantamweight division. So that's how that's the experience that they offer. But obviously Jack and Brett will get like a lot of the they'll be the big names that like everybody will like point to, but they've got a team of amazing training partners and the coaches, like Carl and Shaky and him, like they're absolutely incredible, and they've contributed to so much to me over the last like year and a half. And yeah, I'm really grateful that they've taken me in as part of their team as well. So it's an incredible environment and like world class training.
Yeah, and it's definitely showed in your development as a fighter. Just going off what you say, and obviously how you talk about yourself, it's not
Uh-huh.
if I win the belt, it's when I win the belt. It's not if I get to the UFC, it's when I get to the UFC. How important is that self-belief and not so much confidence, but staying true to the vision? How important is that for you?
Yeah, see, at the end of the day, like, see the belief in the belief that you've got in yourself. If you don't believe in you, then how is anyone else meant to believe in you? I've got goals that I want to achieve, and I believe in myself so much. But that belief is absolutely worthless if you don't put the effort in. And I put the effort in, and I put a lot of like, I try and avoid saying that, like in terms of like I putting the effort in and working hard. I work very, very smart, and I do everything I can. If I go out and say something, I'll put every bit of effort that I can towards that. And if I don't, for whatever happens, if I never become Cage Warriors champion, or if I never get in the UFC, it's just like I used to say, I want to be in Cage Warriors, I want to be a professional fighter, I want to train full time, I want amateur titles, I want this and I want that. If they don't come true, honestly, I'll be hurt and stuff, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. It was because I gave it everything. It was just maybe because I wasn't destined to do that. But in my the way I think I firmly believe I'm on this like earth to I'm destined for greatness. That's what I write. Like you're destined for greatness. So I, I I believe that you've got to believe in yourself and you've got to put the hard work to back it up.
Yeah, definitely. And I am 100% on board with the fact that you will be in the UFC. I think obviously I've had Melissa Dixon, who I've known from the first couple of professional fights, come in the UFC now and then get the win, and then you from the first couple of professional fights. So it's just, I think it means a lot. Obviously, it means a lot to you guys and all your fans, but to us as well, I think it means a lot to kind of be there since the early days and see you guys get in and the envision that you have coming true is just it means a lot, mate. And like I said, you're one of the hardest workers in the room, so it's something that I do really see for yourself. Just moving on,
Thank you.
yeah, just moving on to the tickets that you sell because there is a lot of them. Obviously, closer to the Scottish border now. So for the Newcastle fight, closer to where where you're from, not so far for all these guys to travel. But I know they do travel there. But how many people have you got this army that coming down that you've said you're gonna have?
Yeah, so again, this is another incredible thing. I've always had an incredible support from maybe my second fight, and this is why this fight, fighting for this title, has brought a lot of reflection in my career. Like it's almost validated a lot of decisions that I've made, a lot of sacrifices that I've made, and again, like you said, like putting my goals and dreams out there. I've always said I want to be in Cage Warriors and I want to be their title and win their title, and now I'm 1 fight away from that. So it's like I've said all these things out loud, and in terms of the support, all the support's been with me the whole way, like from my second fight. So the very first time I ever had a fight, you're almost begging people to come, and everybody's asking all these questions like, "You're doing what? MMA? What's that? Fighting in a cage? Oh, I don't know about that." Right? And you're like begging family and friends to come and watch you. So then fast forward that now, where you're fighting in Newcastle on Europe's premier MMA promotion. You've got no opponent. You've not signed a contract. You just know you're on the card, and you hear back from Cage Warriors that you sold over 100 tickets. So like I've sold over at that time. I had no fight, and there was no guarantee that I was fighting for the title, and I had over 100 people buy a ticket to come and watch me fight when they just literally had my word that I'm on that card. So now, like, I don't know the official number, and in a sense, it's kind of irrelevant to me now because I'm preparing for the fight. I don't want any distraction. I don't want to fixate on any numbers. Like, I've got 181 people coming to watch me and stuff. I just know I've got an army coming from Scotland, and the crowd's going to be incredible.
Yeah, it will. It was that. It was in Manchester when you fought last year. That reaction to you walk out, and then obviously when you got the win was just incredible.
Oh, nice.
We're obviously not too far away from it. How is kind of the rest of your 4 weeks going to be looking like? You stepped up in intensity, or have you kind of keeping the same intensity throughout?
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm in a very, very good place right now. I just try and avoid all these cliches. Like, I'm sure that I interview so many fighters and they'll say how they're feeling amazing, and then afterwards they go, "Oh, it was the worst training camp of my life," or whatever. No, like that's not happening with me. Like over the last since my last fight in the 1st of July, I'm very meticulous with my training camps, and I knew that I had to plan out from the 1st of July to the 25th of November. Very, very smart. There was no point in me trying to burn myself out, and then when it comes to October, which we're at now, obviously, I don't want anything to do with the sport. I'm burnt out. I've peaked too early, and I planned my fight camp out. And right now, I'm reaping the rewards from that. Mentally, I'm in an amazing place. Technically, I've completely leveled up from my last fight camp, and not just the last fight camp, but the fight camp before, where nobody really got to see the improvements that I made from November to April because I had that staph infection. And then in my fight in July, it was almost like a flawless performance. I got hit with like one left hook, and I went for a flying knee and get taken down. Like I tried to experiment a wee bit, and I'm not saying it never paid off because I bounced straight back up. But in terms of the performance, it was flawless. I done exactly what I said I would do. I would like cook them up in round 1 and finish them in round 2. So I feel like I've not really had a chance to put all the improvements to like to show in our performance, but they've just carried on to a fight camp, and now we're 4 weeks out. I've got 4 weeks more to 4 weeks left to sharpen up the tools and continue to build on these amazing preparations. So, as I said, we're under a month to the fight, and I'm in a very good place right now.
Yes, that's fantastic to hear. Obviously Graham's been teasing on Twitter and Instagram about this Scottish Cage Warriors event. I know obviously you don't want to look past the event that you're at.
Yeah.
Have we had a confirmation of a date, a time, a place, or is it kind of just up in the air a little bit and Graham's kind of just throwing around ideas?
No, I'm sure business wise, like they could be so wrong, and this is probably so egotistical. I'm sure like they're like if Reece wins the belt, we'll announce Scotland after because there'll be a lot of momentum there. But again, that's like a very cool moment for me. I'm not sure. I assume it might be the first quarter of next year. I'm not sure where either, but yeah, like that's a huge part, a huge step forward in the right direction for Scottish MMA. They've not came for over a decade, and when I first signed to Cage Warriors, I honestly said when I walked in the room to check my weight, the Cage Warriors belt was there. It was Christian Leroy Duncan's, and I said I'm coming for that belt. That title's mine one day. And I said, sorry, you must get that all the time. And I remember a member of staff going like, nah, we don't really. I went back up to my hotel room and I was like, that's mental. Like, what do you mean you don't get that all the time? Like, every fighter that walks through this promotion should want to win that belt, and they're not telling you. Like, that's crazy. And after my first fight, I remember no, on my way to the first fight on the bus, I remember speaking to a few of the staff saying, I would love for you to come up to Scotland, and they're like, yeah, it would be good, but doesn't really make sense just now. And 4 fights later, all of a sudden it makes sense. So they're going to have the first Scottish bantamweight champion, and then they're going to want them to defend it in Scotland, aren't they? So
Yeah, definitely. Just obviously going on what you said, I think that's mental as well that people haven't said that, because I competed when I was like 18 in Cat B, and I did like little kickboxing tournaments, and I'll still go past belts and like UFC belts when I'm at UFC events, and I'll still go one day, and I've not even trained in 5 years.
well, I used to go to football games. Right? So I went to a football game last Saturday, right? And I still think that they're going to call me over in the tannoy to go and jump in and play.
Yeah.
Like, we go back to that goal setting and visualizing and stuff. I just don't see why your head shouldn't be like that. Your head should be like, I think you should just always try and like aim for the highest possible thing that you could do. And if you say it out loud, like, I'm not embarrassed to say that I went to a football game, I thought they were going to shit on me. Obviously, they're definitely not. But like, what happens if they did? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the higher you achieve and the higher standards you have for yourself, the higher you are going to achieve in life. And so what? See if it doesn't come true. Like, oh, I want to be your champion, and then you go and lose your next 4 fights. I don't care. Well, you do care, but I had the courage and the bravery to put that out there, and I had the hard work to back it up. So it's the same with like bringing Scotland back to Cage Warriors. I'm not saying I'm the main reason, because there's other fighters, and they've probably looked at like myself and Chris Bungard and Aidan Stephen, who are who are obviously bringing a big army from Scotland, and they must think, wow, like what would that do if it's still 3, 4, 5 hours from these guys? We could sell a lot of tickets if it was just in the middle of them. So to play a small part, it means a lot. And I think the Scottish show, and I think setting your goals and putting your goals out, speaking your goals out loud for everyone to hear is very positive.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great message, mate. And I think a lot of people can kind of pull a little bit from that, and maybe kind of make a more positive change in their life as well. I think
Yeah.
that's a real positive way of looking
Oh,
at it.
yeah, I think as well. Like, see, I say something right, and somebody goes, "You're crazy." I like laugh, and I think that's great. So what? Like, I always think, say if on the flip side, see when somebody comes to watch me for the first time, I say, just remember it could be over in seconds, good and bad. That's the reality. This could go magnificently well, or it could go horrendously bad. And they say, oh, you can't think like that. I said, well, I'm a realist. This is the way it could go. I don't plan for it. But if I think about knocking them out in 10 seconds, you best believe they're thinking about knocking me out in 10 seconds. But for all the critics out there that might laugh and might say something like, oh, you got beat in 10 seconds or whatever, well, if they beat me in 10, they beat you in 6. So, like, just cancel out all the outside noise, focus on yourself, try to be the best you possible. And then at the end of it, like at the end of my career, I look back and go, I gave absolute everything to do what I could do. And now my job is to try and help people beat whatever I was able to achieve.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Just speaking quickly before I let you go about the actual fight in itself. I know you kind of give a prediction for your last fight, and it came 100% true, and it was amazing and mental to watch. Do you kind of have a thought of how this fight's going to go? Do you have any sort of inklings on what problems you're going to face in the cage, and how you're going to ultimately overcome those issues that Liam's going to pose to you?
Yeah, look, Liam is a very good fighter. He's got great skills. He comes from a good gym. He'll be very well prepared. He's very determined. We know that. We've seen him get dropped in fights and come back. We've had an opponent, a mutual opponent in Kingsley Crawford. Crawford fought him real good, but again, when I remember watching that fight a good couple of times when I was training to fight Crawford, and Crawford dropped him, but Liam was still on his face. It's very hard to put him away. As the more he's training with next gen, you see him a more mature, well-rounded Liam Gittins. He's always improving. So he's a person for me that I want to win a world title over. He's very experienced, and he's been in Cage Warriors years longer than me. So he carries that as well. But for me, for a prediction, I'm not going to hold on to any rounds this time. I don't think it's fitting for this performance. I think what's fitting for this performance is it goes three ways. If I had a perfect way for this to finish, it would be a round 4 finish, a round 5 finish, or a 5-round decision. And the reason why I say that is because I want to do it in true championship style. I want to go into those championship rounds because what I want to look back and go, see if that was a 3-round fight, that fight would have been over. I want to go and say, no, I won my first world title in those championship rounds, whether I lose the first 3, I win the first 3, or I wanted to be in a finish in round 4, 5, or a decision win to say that I won a world title in true championship fashion.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for it, mate. I think it's going to blow the roof off the place. It's going to be the best card that Cage Warriors have put on in so long. Like, they just keep adding fights and fight. I know Adam Cullen from Next Gen, who always brings a load of people as well. He wants to get on the card. So it's going to be a nuts card, and you're going to be part of history, like you said. So all the best to you, and obviously I'll see you fight night. But tickets are still available. I think a few, maybe.
Yeah. If you want tickets, go on my Instagram, use my ticket link only. That's the only place you can get tickets. That's the only place you can get tickets. But yeah, genuinely, this show will sell out because I think there's still a few fights to announce. They just announced another title fight last night. So the 3 world title fights. And there's not a fight that you could look in the car and go, don't know about that one. They're all top dollar fights. So you're getting your money's worth in this one. And you get to watch me create some history as well.
Yeah, make sure you watch it. It's going to be fantastic. Make sure you get there if you can. But no, thank you very much for spending the time with me, Reece. I always appreciate having a bit of a chin wag with you.
No, thank you. And the backstory is we both have some DIY to do, and we're trying to keep this interview on as long as possible.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, thank you so much to you and all the team at Combat Sports for your time and all your support.
Yeah, not a problem, Reece. Thank you very much, mate, and you take care.
Thank you, mate. Have a nice
Thank you,
day.
mate. Bye.
Bye.